Why do some people achieve extraordinary success while others, despite working just as hard, struggle to move forward? Is success really about talent and intelligence? Or is there one hidden skill that separates the world's top performers from everyone else? In Deep Work, best-selling author Cal Newport reveals that in an age of endless distractions, the ability to focus deeply has become one of the rarest and most valuable skills anyone can develop. Every notification, message, and interruption silently steals our attention, making it harder to produce meaningful work and reach our true potential. But this book isn't about working longer hours. It's about working with complete focus. In this complete summary, you'll discover how to eliminate distractions, master valuable skills faster, increase productivity, and build a life centered around purpose, discipline, and meaningful achievement. Whether you're a student, entrepreneur, professional, or creator, these timeless principles can transform the way you learn, work, and grow. Let's begin by understanding why the ability to focus deeply has become the ultimate advantage in the modern world. In the introduction, we discovered that the greatest obstacle to success today isn't a lack of intelligence or effort. It's the constant battle for our attention. Stephen Covey taught us that habits shape our lives, but Cal Newport takes the conversation one step further. He argues that in today's world, your ability to focus deeply has become one of your greatest competitive advantages. This is where the journey of deep work truly begins. Cal Newport introduces two very different ways of working: deep work and shallow work. Deep work is the ability to focus completely on one meaningful task without distractions. During these moments, your mind performs at its highest level. You learn faster, think more clearly, solve complex problems, and produce work that is both valuable and difficult to replace. On the other hand, shallow work consists of low-value activities that keep you busy but require very little concentration. Constantly checking emails, scrolling through social media, switching between apps, or attending unnecessary meetings may fill your day, but they rarely create meaningful progress. One of the book's most powerful lessons is that modern society rewards people who can perform deep work. Technology has made communication faster than ever before, but it has also made distraction easier than ever before. Every notification, message, or unnecessary interruption forces your brain to switch its attention. Although these interruptions may seem small, they slowly reduce your ability to think deeply and maintain concentration. Another important idea is that attention is a limited resource. Every time you divide your focus between multiple tasks, the quality of your thinking decreases. Many people believe they are good at multitasking, but research and experience show that constantly switching between tasks often leads to more mistakes, lower creativity, and slower progress. Highly productive people protect their attention because they understand that where attention goes, results follow. The book also explains that deep work is becoming increasingly rare. In many workplaces, being constantly available has become the norm. People feel pressure to respond immediately to every email, message, or notification. As a result, they spend their entire day reacting instead of creating. Newport argues that true value is created when you spend uninterrupted time solving important problems rather than constantly responding to distractions. Another valuable lesson is that deep work is a skill, not a talent. No one is born with perfect concentration. Just like physical strength grows through regular training, focus becomes stronger through consistent practice. At first, concentrating for even 30 minutes without checking your phone may feel difficult. But with patience and discipline, your ability to focus grows stronger, allowing you to accomplish more in less time. The book also reminds us that being busy is not the same as being productive. A packed schedule may create the feeling of accomplishment, but real productivity is measured by meaningful results, not by constant activity. 1 hour of complete concentration can often produce more value than several hours filled with interruptions. Perhaps the greatest message in this part is that the modern world is full of distractions, but your future depends on what you choose to give your attention to. Every moment spent strengthening your focus is an investment in your knowledge, your skills, and your future success. The people who master their attention are often the people who master their careers and their lives. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear: Your ability to focus deeply is becoming one of the most valuable skills of the 21st century. Those who protect it will continue to grow, while those who constantly surrender it to distractions may struggle to reach their full potential. In the next part, we'll explore why deep work helps you learn difficult skills faster and produce extraordinary results, and discover the scientific principles that make focused concentration so powerful. In the previous part, we discovered that deep work is becoming one of the most valuable skills in the modern world because it allows people to produce high-quality results while others remain trapped in constant distraction. But this raises an important question. Why does deep work make such a dramatic difference? According to Cal Newport, the answer lies in how our brain learns, adapts, and develops valuable skills. One of the central ideas of this book is that the modern economy rewards people who can do two things exceptionally well: learn difficult skills quickly and produce work of exceptional quality. These two abilities are no longer optional. They are becoming essential for anyone who wants to grow in their career, business, or personal life. The good news is that both abilities depend on the same foundation: deep, uninterrupted concentration. Whenever you try to learn something challenging, your brain needs time to build new connections. This process cannot happen effectively if your attention is constantly interrupted. Every notification, every unnecessary conversation, and every quick glance at your phone forces your mind to restart its focus. Although these interruptions may last only a few seconds, they leave behind what Newport calls attention residue. A part of your mind remains attached to the previous task, making it much harder to give your full effort to the work in front of you. This explains why many people spend an entire day working yet accomplish very little. Their time is divided among dozens of small interruptions, preventing them from reaching the level of concentration where meaningful progress happens. Deep work removes these interruptions, allowing your brain to think clearly, solve difficult problems, and create better solutions. Another powerful lesson is that quality is often more valuable than quantity. Many people measure productivity by the number of hours they spend working. Newport argues that this is the wrong way to think. What truly matters is the value you create during those hours. A single hour of complete concentration can produce results that several distracted hours cannot match. Real productivity is measured by meaningful output, not by how busy you appear. The book also reminds us that mastering valuable skills requires deliberate practice. Improvement does not happen by repeating easy tasks. Growth happens when you challenge yourself with work that stretches your abilities while giving it your complete attention. This is why experts, researchers, writers, programmers, entrepreneurs, and top performers intentionally create environments where they can work without interruption. They understand that excellence is built through focused practice, not constant activity. Another important principle is that your environment shapes your behavior. If your workspace is filled with distractions, maintaining focus becomes much harder. Highly productive people remove unnecessary interruptions before they begin working. They silence notifications, close unrelated applications, organize their workspace, and dedicate specific blocks of time to one important task. They don't rely only on willpower, they design an environment that supports concentration. Newport also explains that deep work creates a sense of satisfaction that shallow work rarely provides. When you give your complete attention to meaningful work, you experience progress, mastery, and a stronger sense of purpose. Instead of ending the day feeling exhausted but unfulfilled, you finish knowing that your time produced something valuable. Perhaps the greatest lesson in this part is that your future depends less on how many hours you work and more on how deeply you work. In a world filled with endless distractions, the ability to concentrate has become a superpower. Those who develop this skill continue learning faster, solving bigger problems, and creating opportunities that others often overlook. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear. Extraordinary results are rarely produced by extraordinary talent alone. More often, they are the result of ordinary people giving extraordinary attention to the work that truly matters. In the next part, we'll explore how to train your mind for deep work, eliminate distractions, and build daily habits that make intense focus a natural part of your life. In the previous part, we learned that deep work is the key to learning difficult skills, producing high-quality results, and creating lasting value. But knowing the importance of focus is only the beginning. The real challenge is learning how to protect it in a world designed to steal your attention. This is where Cal Newport introduces one of the most practical lessons in the entire book. Deep work is not achieved by chance. It is built through intentional habits and disciplined routines. Many people believe they will focus when they feel motivated. Unfortunately, motivation comes and goes. Newport argues that relying on motivation alone is a mistake. Instead, highly productive people create systems that make deep work a regular part of their lives. They don't wait for the perfect mood or the perfect moment. They schedule time for focused work and protect it as seriously as any important appointment. One of the book's most valuable principles is creating rituals for concentration. Before beginning an important task, eliminate unnecessary distractions. Silence your phone, close unrelated tabs, organize your workspace, and decide exactly what you will work on. These simple actions send a clear signal to your brain that it is time to focus. Over time, these routines make concentration easier because your mind begins to associate them with productive work. Another powerful lesson is learning to embrace boredom. Modern life has trained many of us to reach for our phones the moment we experience even a few seconds of silence. Standing in a line, waiting for a friend, or sitting quietly often feels uncomfortable. Newport explains that this habit weakens our ability to concentrate because the brain becomes addicted to constant stimulation. If you want to strengthen your focus, you must occasionally allow yourself to be bored without immediately searching for entertainment. This simple practice trains your mind to remain calm and attentive for longer periods. The book also encourages readers to become more intentional about technology. Newport does not argue that technology is harmful by itself. Instead, he asks an important question. Does this tool genuinely help you achieve your most important goals, or does it mostly consume your attention? Many digital tools provide real value, but others quietly steal hours every week without giving much in return. Highly effective people regularly evaluate how they use technology instead of allowing technology to control them. Another important idea is setting clear boundaries between deep work and everything else. If every interruption is allowed into your day, meaningful concentration becomes almost impossible. Successful people protect specific periods for focused work and avoid unnecessary interruptions during those times. They understand that saying no to distractions often means saying yes to excellence. Newport also emphasizes the importance of ending your workday with intention. Rather than carrying unfinished tasks in your mind throughout the evening, create a simple plan for tomorrow before you stop working. This habit helps your brain relax, reduces mental clutter, and allows you to return the next day with greater clarity and energy. Rest is not the opposite of productivity. It is an essential part of it. Another timeless lesson is that consistency is more powerful than intensity. Working with complete focus for a short period every day is often more effective than trying to work for extremely long hours only once in a while. Deep work becomes a lifelong advantage when it is practiced regularly, not occasionally. Perhaps the greatest message in this part is that focus is not something you find, it is something you build. Every distraction you remove, every routine you establish, and every moment of uninterrupted concentration strengthens your ability to perform meaningful work. Small daily decisions gradually shape a mind that is capable of extraordinary results. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear. The people who achieve exceptional success are rarely those with the busiest schedules. More often, they are the ones who consistently protect their attention and invest it where it matters most. In the next part, we'll explore how to eliminate shallow work, reclaim your time, and create a lifestyle that supports long-term focus, creativity, and meaningful achievement. In the previous part, we learned that deep work is built through discipline, intentional routines, and the ability to protect our attention from constant distractions. But even after creating these habits, one important challenge remains. How do we prevent shallow work from taking over our lives? Cal Newport explains that if we don't intentionally control our time, shallow work will quietly consume it. Shallow work isn't necessarily useless. Answering emails, attending meetings, organizing files, and handling routine tasks are all part of modern life. The problem begins when these activities occupy most of our day, leaving little room for the work that actually creates value. Many people feel productive because they're always busy, yet months pass without any meaningful progress toward their biggest goals. One of the book's most practical lessons is learning to schedule your priorities instead of scheduling your leftovers. Most people complete small, easy tasks first and hope they'll have enough energy for important work later. Unfortunately, later often never comes. Highly productive people reverse this process. They protect their most valuable hours for deep work and allow routine tasks to fit around those priorities, not the other way around. Another powerful idea is accepting that you cannot do everything. Every yes to an unnecessary commitment is often a no to something far more important. Newport encourages readers to become more selective with their time. This doesn't mean refusing every opportunity. It means recognizing that your attention is limited and should be invested where it creates the greatest long-term value. The book also challenges the modern belief that being constantly available is a sign of dedication. Many people feel obligated to reply to every message immediately, but this habit often destroys concentration. Newport argues that thoughtful, high-quality work is usually far more valuable than instant responses. Creating healthy boundaries around communication allows you to protect the uninterrupted time needed for meaningful progress. Another important lesson is learning to measure success by results rather than activity. A day filled with constant movement may feel productive, but true progress comes from completing work that genuinely matters. Instead of asking, "How busy was I today?" ask yourself, "What meaningful value did I create today?" This simple question shifts your focus from activity to achievement. Newport also emphasizes the importance of ending each day with clarity. Before finishing your work, review what you've accomplished, note what remains to be done, and create a simple plan for tomorrow. This habit reduces mental stress, improves focus, and allows you to begin the next day with purpose instead of confusion. Another timeless principle is that deep work is not only about professional success. It also improves the quality of your life. When you complete meaningful work with full concentration, you gain a stronger sense of accomplishment, reduce unnecessary stress, and create more time for family, learning, rest, and personal growth. Productivity should support a meaningful life, not replace it. Perhaps the greatest message in this part is that your future is shaped by what consistently receives your attention. If distractions control your schedule, they will eventually control your results. But if you intentionally protect time for meaningful work every day, small improvements will gradually turn into extraordinary achievements. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear. Success is not built by doing more things. It is built by consistently doing the right things with complete focus. The people who learn to eliminate unnecessary distractions and invest their attention wisely create results that continue to grow year after year. In the next and final part, we'll bring together the complete philosophy of deep work and discover how mastering your attention can transform not only your career, but the way you live, learn, and grow for the rest of your life. In the previous part, we learned that meaningful success comes from protecting our attention and reducing the influence of shallow work. But before we finish this journey, Cal Newport presents one final perspective that brings all of his ideas together. He explains that deep work is not simply a productivity technique. It is a philosophy for living and working with purpose. It is a way of choosing quality over busyness, intention over distraction, and long-term value over short-term gratification. One of the most important lessons in this book is that the world is changing rapidly. Technology continues to evolve, industries continue to change, and new skills become valuable almost every year. In such an environment, people who can quickly learn, adapt, and solve difficult problems will always have an advantage. Deep work provides the foundation for all of these abilities because focused attention allows the brain to learn more efficiently and perform at its highest level. Another powerful principle is that mastery requires patience. We often admire experts without seeing the years of focused effort behind their success. Great writers, scientists, entrepreneurs, engineers, teachers, and creators are not defined by occasional moments of inspiration. They become exceptional because they consistently dedicate uninterrupted time to improving their craft. Excellence is rarely the result of luck. It is usually the result of disciplined practice repeated over many years. The book also reminds us that our greatest enemy is not technology itself but uncontrolled distraction. Phones, computers, and the internet are remarkable tools when they serve a clear purpose. However, when they constantly interrupt our thinking, they quietly reduce our ability to concentrate, create, and solve meaningful problems. Newport encourages us to become intentional users of technology rather than passive consumers of endless information. Another valuable lesson is learning to protect your mental energy. Every decision you make, every interruption you allow, and every unnecessary task you accept consumes a portion of your attention. Highly productive people understand that attention is one of life's most valuable resources. They spend it carefully, focusing on work that creates lasting value instead of chasing endless activity. The book also emphasizes that deep work leads to more than professional achievement. When you regularly experience complete concentration, you often feel a greater sense of purpose and satisfaction. Finishing meaningful work creates confidence because you know your time has been invested wisely. Instead of ending the day with frustration and unfinished tasks, you experience the quiet fulfillment that comes from genuine progress. Another timeless idea is that success is built through consistent daily habits, not occasional bursts of motivation. A single focus session will not transform your life overnight. But when you repeatedly choose concentration over distraction, discipline over convenience, and meaningful work over constant busyness, those small choices gradually reshape your future. Over months and years, these habits produce remarkable results that seem impossible to those who only see the final outcome. Perhaps the greatest message of deep work is that your attention determines the quality of your life. Whatever consistently receives your focus eventually shapes your knowledge, your skills, your character, and your future. By protecting your attention, you protect your potential. By mastering your focus, you create the opportunity to produce work that truly matters. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear. In a world that constantly competes for your attention, the ability to think deeply has become a rare and powerful advantage. Those who develop this ability will continue to learn faster, create more value, and achieve meaningful success while many others remain trapped in endless distraction. In the final part, we'll bring together the complete message of deep work and discover why mastering your attention may be one of the most valuable investments you ever make. For your career, your personal growth, and the future you choose to build. We've reached the end of our journey through deep work, and if there's one lesson this book leaves us with, it's this. Your ability to focus is one of the greatest assets you will ever possess. In a world filled with constant notifications, endless information, and never-ending distractions, the people who learn to protect their attention will always have an advantage over those who allow their attention to be controlled by everything around them. Throughout this summary, we've explored why deep work has become one of the most valuable skills of the modern age. We learned the difference between deep work and shallow work, discovered how constant distractions weaken our ability to think clearly, and saw why uninterrupted concentration leads to faster learning, better decisions, greater creativity, and higher quality results. We also explored practical ways to build daily routines, reduce unnecessary distractions, and make focused work a permanent habit instead of an occasional effort. One of the greatest messages in this book is that success is not determined by how busy you are, it is determined by the value you create. Many people spend their lives moving from one task to another without making meaningful progress. They confuse constant activity with real productivity. But truly successful people understand that a few hours of complete concentration often produce more meaningful results than an entire day filled with interruptions. Another powerful lesson is that your attention shapes your future. Whatever consistently receives your focus gradually becomes your reality. If your attention is constantly scattered, your progress will also become scattered. But if you deliberately invest your attention in learning, creating, solving problems, and developing valuable skills, your abilities will continue to grow year after year. The book also reminds us that technology should remain a tool, not a master. Modern devices have made our lives easier in many ways, but they have also made distraction more accessible than ever before. The solution is not to reject technology completely, but to use it wisely and intentionally. Every app, every notification, and every habit should support your most important goals instead of silently pulling you away from them. Another timeless principle is that excellence requires patience. Deep work is not a shortcut to instant success. It is a long-term practice of showing up consistently, protecting your attention, and giving your best effort to meaningful work every single day. Small improvements may seem insignificant at first, but over time they compound into remarkable achievements that transform both your career and your personal life. Cal Newport also teaches us that meaningful work brings a unique sense of fulfillment. There is a quiet satisfaction that comes from solving a difficult problem, mastering a challenging skill, or completing important work with complete focus. These moments remind us that real happiness often comes not from endless entertainment, but from making genuine progress toward worthwhile goals. Perhaps the most encouraging message in this book is that deep work is a skill anyone can develop. You don't need extraordinary talent or perfect circumstances to begin. Every time you choose concentration over distraction, discipline over convenience, and purpose over mindless busyness, you strengthen one of the most valuable abilities you will ever possess. Those small daily choices gradually build a life filled with greater knowledge, stronger skills, meaningful accomplishments, and lasting confidence. Ultimately, deep work is not simply a book about productivity. It is a guide to living with greater intention. It teaches us that the quality of our attention determines the quality of our work, and the quality of our work helps shape the quality of our lives. By learning to focus deeply, we don't just accomplish more. We become more capable, more disciplined, and more intentional in everything we do. Thank you for joining me on this complete journey through Deep Work by Cal Newport. If you remember only one lesson from this book, let it be this: your future is built by what consistently receives your attention. Protect your focus, invest it wisely, and you'll develop the skills, knowledge, and character needed to achieve meaningful success. Not just for a season, but for a lifetime.